MP John Nicolson, who's on the Culture and Media Committee, has said that comments by Martin Frizzell, the editor of This Morning, to a journalist, are outrageously dismissive and flippant. They were on camera about an immensely serious issue. At the committee hearing, Magnus, Brooke, who's the Group Director of Strategy, Policy and Regulation at ITV, was questioned about Mr Frizzell's comments. Our national reporter Paul Hawkins joins us now from outside Portcullis House. And Paul, in terms of the assessment of what Mr Frizzell said, or the way he said it, clearly this senior manager is not impressed.
No, absolutely not. He called Martin Frizzell's comments ill-judged. Just to put into context this session, it was essentially a session with three media executives, one from Channel 4, one from Paramount and one from ITV. It was actually to talk about this media bill, this piece of legislation that is making its way through the Commons. It's just part of the standard scrutinisation process that the DCMS committee regularly undertake on new laws. But during this scrutinisation of the bill, Magnus, Brooke, who is, as you say, the Group Director of Strategy, Policy and Regulation at ITV, was asked about Martin Frizzell's comments. He described them as ill-judged, so clearly unhappy with Martin Frizzell's behaviour yesterday. He was also asked about ITV's duty of care to its staff, particularly those younger members of staff, and this is what he had to say. This is the exchange between the SNP MP John Nicolson and Magnus, Brooke.
Are you satisfied with the duty of care that the editorial team and senior managers provide to staff, especially young staff working there and at ITV more generally?
Mr. Nicolson, I mean, I think there's a very sophisticated and a significant system of safeguarding and duty of care at ITV, with a very significant set of policies. We have a code of conduct which sets out our expectations about how people behave, and that deals with a number of different issues, from equal opportunities to respect at work, dignity and understanding. And then we then have an important set of requirements which hold people to account internally.
Why are so many of the staff so unhappy, former and current staff?
And of course, Paul, there'll be more to come next week. But just on this specific about the editor, it's interesting to look at what is being quoted when he was questioned by this Sky News reporter. Martin Frizzell saying, "I'll tell you what's toxic, and I've always found it toxic, aubergine. Do you like aubergine? Do you? Do you like aubergine? Because I don't like aubergine. It's just a personal thing." Mr Brooke going on to say, "I wouldn't endorse what he said."
Yeah, clearly unhappy with the flippant way with which Martin Frizzell viewed the reporter's completely legitimate questions. So didn't reflect very well on the company, and ITV would like to think that Magnus, Brooke has drawn a line under it. You say, or rather you point, Mark, to next week. That's the 14th of June. That's when we get a proper dedicated questioning session by that group of MPs to the Chief Executive of ITV. That's Dame Carolyn McCall. Now, Carolyn Dinenage, the chair of the committee, has said that the grilling will not be a witch hunt. She said it's about misuse of power, and in the public interest it'll focus on work culture and processes, and how ITV intends to move forward with safeguarding procedures and learn lessons from the incident. The interesting thing will be to find out who knew what in management. Did they know anything? And if they did know anything, what did they know and when? And did they try to cover it up? And will it tally with what Phillip Schofield gave in those interviews last week? And then, of course, will that tally with the independent review that ITV have commissioned by an independent lawyer? And that's still to come.